Happy New Year. Cheers to you, cheers to me, cheers to the next 12 chapters, 365 pages. That visual I just love so much, and everything this year is going to hold for us. And staying hydrated is one thing we're going to make sure the top of our list for 2026. Wow. I can't believe January is already here. I feel like the last 3 months of the year flew by in addition to the entire year. And one of my 2026, I suppose, goals, if you will, or creative pursuits is showing up here more regularly. And I know I say that every time I come back, but when I look at least the next 3 months ahead, I'll have so much more time in my schedule just to settle down, to get a strategy, to find a groove, and also just to get out of my way, thinking that I need to have everything scripted or at least structurally set up for me to have some type of creative flow, when that's usually what gets in my way. I am so good at spending so much time on the system and the strategy and the structure as a way to distract me or to really stall action. So this is me getting in action and out of my own way. I figured since we are here, and if you're new here, hello, welcome, my name is Kayla, we can do a little like 2025 rewind, 2026 look ahead. So get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage, preferably one that's hydrating, although we love a coffee moment, whatever you'd like. And if anything comes up for you, take a note, drop it in the comments, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, do all those fun YouTube things, because we're gonna do it, we're gonna be here. I just have been reflecting a lot on the spaces that excite me, and YouTube is one I always look forward to, despite how much energy it does take. So again, I always shout out my YouTubers and my vloggers. Y'all are real ones, because this is no joke, but it's my favorite way to connect and build community. And when I look at YouTube more broadly, when I look at the vloggers, when I look at the runners, when I look at the people that are showing up and being pushed by the algorithm, they don't look like me. And I figure, hey, I am a Black woman. I am going to be 36, so I'm no longer like in my 30s, which is typically on the younger side. I'm not a young teeny bop in my 20s. I'm a full-grown woman. Not that those aren't, but I'm a full-grown woman about to be 36 years old, closer to 40 than I am 30, and I feel like some representation is needed there, okay? So we're just gonna get into it. I'm gonna take another sip of water because I am a little dehydrated after the night that I had. Which wasn't crazy wild. New Year's Eve for me, I got away from celebrating as far as going out, getting dressed up, doing the dinner thing back in 2021. It was just a wild night, and it ended in a terrible argument with a guy that I was seeing during the time. And I realized being in that environment, being around people that I didn't really align with, doing things that I didn't align with as far as going out and drinking and doing all that. So like, it's just not my vibe. It ended as a reminder, relationship included, seeing, different conversation for different day. It ended all the way it was supposed to, because I shouldn't have been in it in the first place. So ever since then, New Year's Eve for me has just been hanging out with family, hanging out with friends, staying inside, being cozy, eating good food, laughing at the memories of the year. And yesterday, in addition to the 2 previous years, maybe just the 1 year, because in 2023, I was in Chile, I was in Argentina for New Year's Eve. But I was at my sister's house, and she lives a couple blocks away with me. Some girlfriends were over. We just laughed and giggled and yapped and talked about what the dating scene looks like for especially her age group. The girls are like mid-20s to upper 20s, what they're looking for in their careers and aspirational. It was just so much freaking fun. So that's what I got into last night, which of course had a few drinks, nothing crazy. And my whole plan was to leave by 10 p.m. I ended up staying till 1:30 in the morning, as one should always expect when it comes to the girls yapping. So I'm a little all over the place today, so forgive me. But this is the energy and the vibe we're probably just gonna go into 2026 with. So let me just like pause and reflect on 2025, because I did not do a recap this year on social media as I typically do. So much went down. And if you follow me on Instagram at @KaylaJeter_, or if you follow me on TikTok-ish, but mostly Instagram, you will see your girl was busy. When I looked at my Flighty recap, which is the platform that I use to track all of my flights, I cannot recommend it enough. This is not an ad by any means, but if you're someone who travels a lot, or travels frequently enough that you could benefit from receiving real-time updates and alerts, having this really fun end of year wrap up to see where you spent your time, how many times you flew around the world, to the moon, all that stuff. I recommend Flighty, really cool app to check out, the premium subscription as everything is. Flighty showed me, based off of from January 1 to December 31st, and really my last trip of the year was to New York for Christmas. I took 72 flights. I flew over 120,000 miles, which distance-wise compares to almost 5 times, so 4.8 times around the world. I think I traveled half the distance to the moon. And I spent cumulatively 12 days traveling in airtime. So when I say I haven't had time to edit properly, I haven't even been home enough to sit and pull up any type of editing platform, let alone cut something together. It really was shocking that I even got the Toronto vlog up and done, but I was just so conscious throughout the experience of it, what I wanted to capture, that editing it was quite a breeze. And I have a few videos from last year that I'm gonna have to pull like from the archives to share. My trip to Paris with one of my sisters when we went and saw Beyonce. Well, we were going to Paris and Beyonce was there, if I'm being honest. When I just recently went to Tokyo in Japan in September, so perhaps not that recently anymore. That was my first trip to Tokyo. My sister's trip, which was recent in November, to Mexico. We went to Cabo for Thanksgiving. Those 3, I'm going to spend some time and release throughout 2026 as certain dates that make sense come about. And then I have one other random video that my cousin edited that, if I'm being honest, I haven't watched yet. But we got content for days. But yeah, I haven't been home. But it was such a fulfilling year. It was an exhausting year. And it brought with it, I think, 3 lessons really stood out to me. First and foremost, for those of you that know me, you know I'm a runner. I have been in the distance running space for the last 5 years. Running in general, probably like 8 to 10, just with my 100 Mile of the Summer challenge. And for the past 3 years in particular, I've been on this distance bender. It has been a bender. I ran my first ever marathon in the spring of 2023. And that same year, I went on to run Berlin Marathon and New York City Marathon. So that's 3 marathons in 1 year. The year after that, I ran further. So I was one of 10 women that were selected to chase their furthest distance with Lululemon out in Palm Springs, 6 days, ultra marathon, multi-day. I did over 230 miles in 6 days. That same year, I went on to run the marathon around the Olympics. So I ran the Olympic course, which was really wonderful. A cool opportunity to be in Paris for the Olympics and then run the marathon course. And then I dragged myself through Chicago Marathon that same year. So coming off of Chicago Marathon in 2 years back to back, and if I'm being honest, even the year before that first marathon year of doing ultra marathon relays, I've run Hood to Coast, I've done Speed Project, I've done a handful of half marathons. Your girl's been busy, your girl's been active, and I always bring this up just to paint this larger picture of like 3 years nonstop, year-round running, coming from someone who comes from a power, performance, explosive sport of volleyball, where I'm used to like quick load and quick release. And now I'm just like putting all this stress on my joints. My strength base has always been my saving grace through it all. And as you can imagine, when you're in a season of running and that is the priority, I am deprioritizing my strength training, or at least keeping it at maintenance level. And that strength base definitely started to tear down. So at the end of 2024, I was like, okay, my body definitely needs to rest. I need to take some time. But there is a race in 2025 that I was really looking forward to, which was 2 Oceans. Another video. I owe you guys. Guys, we have so much to edit. It's in Cape Town. It's 56K, so 34 miles. Going up Chapman's Peak, running throughout Cape Town. My first time in Cape Town, excuse me. And in the lead up to that Saturday race, I joined my friend's nonprofit Escape up in Toronto. So many of us, I think over 20 of us, flew down to Cape Town to relay race our way from Port Elizabeth to Cape Town, which was over 500 miles, which was an incredible experience in itself. So your girl's been tired. And when I crossed that finish line of Two Oceans in April, I said to myself, I'm taking a break. I'm not doing any fall running. My body is tired. My brain is tired. To go in another training block would really be taxing for me, I think, mentally, if not more than physically. Just because when I enter my training mode, I come from professional volleyball. I come from high performance athletics. So I really tunnel vision and sacrifice a lot when I'm in a training block, because my biggest fear is to get injured. And my biggest fear is to go through the experience and hate it because of the way I did not take care of my body. And we were very much teetering with that, especially with Chicago Marathon. So top of April, Two Oceans, I said no fall marathons. And I stuck to it. I'm really proud of myself. I did no fall racing in general, although I did hop in Toronto and pace my sisters for their first half, which was such a fun experience. And I recently went to Barbados for Run Barbados weekend, which if anyone's looking for a 2026 race, go to the Caribbean in general, but go to Barbados for Run Barbados weekend. It is the first weekend after Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure that's when it traditionally is. And it's races all weekend long. You don't need to do all of them. You can hop in for one and get a medal for the weekend and then vibe out the rest of the time. But the way that it was set up this year is that Friday we did the fun mile. So 1 mile around the racetrack, which actually was really cool. Not on the racetrack, but there's a road that goes around it. It's a night race. On Saturday, there was a 5K and a 10K around like mid-afternoon. And then on Sunday was a half and the full, first thing in the morning, like 5 a.m., obviously because of the sun and the heat and everything. And it was such a fun way to wrap up the year running on an island, good vibes, wonderful people, great food. I'm Bayesian, so I'm biased, but I cannot recommend it enough. Run Barbados like blew my mind, and I'm really looking forward to going back again this year and hopefully staying more, either longer on the back end or coming in earlier, either one. So, this year for me, like the first lesson, which I was getting into, was listening to my body, really listening to my body and giving it what it needs and giving it the time and space to heal, and not letting the pressure of what I should be doing or what other people are doing or how I feel like I need to show up really force me to get into something that could be potentially dangerous for my body. I slept a lot more this year. I think I took things slower this year. I got to explore more on my bike because I also cycle, and I don't cycle enough just because I'm so mindful of injuries and the high injury rate with cycling. Got into Pilates with my sisters, which was so fun. I know there's like beef with Pilates and strength training, but I think they can be a really incredible complement for those that are runners that want a way to strengthen stability and mobility. I think Pilates was really helpful for me in my rehab, at least with my knee, which I didn't even speak about my knee. My knee, I have a frayed meniscus. Found this out at the top of May, so that also was a big driver as to why I needed to take some time off and just regain and rebuild strength. I got back training and with a new performance coach. His name's DB out of Pros Performance. I think that's the name of his gym in Pilsen. He's wonderful. He works with a lot of youth and professional athletes, a lot of jumpers, background like I do. And yeah, my body just needed some time to chill. And I remember during fall marathon season, not Chicago, but I think I was in New York for New York City Marathon. Someone asked me, like, are you running on Sunday? And I said, no. They're like, oh, don't you wish you were? And I looked at them and said, no. Like, no part of me even romanticized running 26.2 miles, let alone going through a proper training block. So giving my body the time and space and not feeling the pressure from what everyone else is doing was the greatest gift I could have given to myself, which I think then goes nicely into the second lesson of 2025, is not buying in, giving in, or crumbling to copycat culture. And I understand when we're on the internet, there's so many things that inspire us and we're taking ideas from and hopefully making our own. But this year really showed me, especially in the content space, that people are really just trying to do what everyone else is doing. And I don't even think it's to be cool. I think it's just to be someone. There's just so many people who are unsure of who they are. So we latch onto the thing that's trendy, that's viral, that we feel like we need to be yet again. and we don't sit in the uncomfortableness of being unsure of who we are, or even going down the journey of exploration of who we are and what we're interested in. And there were many times, especially on social media, where I found myself feeling quite torn and struggling about my content and the way that I show up, and even my engagement numbers, just because the world that I'm in, like that, those metrics matter. And I was like, should I hop on this trend? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I create the signature series? And I just like, it never felt right to me. And I think about how far I've come in my life, in my career, the opportunities I've attracted have all been through me staying aligned and staying on my path. I, of course, from time to time can look right and look left, but staying in my lane. Staying in my lane and just trusting the road that's unraveling ahead of me. It's always served me well. So not, I guess, succumbing to copycat culture has been a really honest appreciation of me and what I have to offer in this space. And I feel really good coming out of 2025 saying to myself, I think I may have done one trend. And it was a trend that lasted for like 2 days. I don't even know what it could be. Oh, I think I did it for Run Barbados. It was like an audio transition because I think those are so fun. I mean, they do like the whole thing. They're like all cute and fun. I'm just always chaotic in the morning of a race that I never have time to do this thing. But yeah, so copycat culture, saying no to that, to say yes to the way that feels aligned and true and honest to who I am. And last big lesson that brought me joy this year, but I did not fully get into, is let's bring back hobbies. Like hobbies for the sake of hobbies, not hobbies to create a signature series, not hobbies to record to show you do something different. Bringing back hobbies in a way that's quiet and not captured. This year, I got into Pilates. I don't know if you'd necessarily call that a hobby, but it was a side quest. And although I did capture like the videos, they were so fun just to watch me and my sisters just go through this class struggling as athletes. And I put quotes around it because when people see myself and my sisters, the assumption is that we are super athletic. We can hop into anything and adjust, which is true. This is true. However, Pilates is a completely different beast. And me at 5'10", 175 pounds, and these shoulders and these quads, and Pilates, we tussle every time we're in there. But just bringing back things that are fun and letting them be fun, and let the whole figuring it out as it goes not be documented. I just think people need more hobbies and need to have more fun. And I felt like we were just getting into that towards the end of 2025. So I'm going to keep that in the mind, or top of mind, for 2026. Which then brings me to, first, let's take a sip of water. I told you we're going to get yappy. Brings me to 2026. Here we are. Happy New Year again. New Year's resolutions and New Year's goals. There's so much chatter about it right now. How to set goals, how to vision board, how to not lose your New Year, abandon your New Year's resolution, which, a lot of it I think is very helpful, but again, it can be very overwhelming and very chattery. If you are looking for any types of guidance or support on how to not abandon your New Year's resolution or how to get your New Year's goals to stick, I'm going to be surprisingly cliche here and recommend a Mel Robbins podcast episode that I just listened to. So my background, I actually used to work for Weight Watchers. When I was there, they were rebranding as WW. And the base of their model, as far as weight loss model, is behavior change science. So they're giving you the tools and teaching you different techniques to make changes to your habits that will actually last. And so I share that because Mel Robbins interviewed a behavioral change scientist. That's how I at least received her position, but she does behavior change research. And she had a really wonderful conversation with her as far as barriers to setting goals, making goals stick, New Year's resolution. I'm going to leave it right here what it's called. Wait, no, I can pull it up right now. I think this is it. Yes, and she is, and I was right. Okay, so Mel Robbins podcast, She interviewed Dr. Katie Milkman, PhD, one of the world's leading behavioral scientists, an endowed professor at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, and co-founder of the Behavior Change for Good initiative. Awesome episode. Lots of really good tangible tips, tools, and takeaways to make your New Year's resolution stick. And my biggest thing that I've learned during my time with WW and someone who sets goals in general for themselves, number one, just pick something that's truly doable, not only within the context of your life and we can fit in, but the time frame and the amount of time you can dedicate it to it. I think we set these big, hairy, audacious goals, which I think is great. I think it's always super inspiring to want to aim towards a mountaintop, but like you got to focus on the first boulder in front of you, right? So just setting goals that are not only truly doable and then also relative to your lifestyle and a time frame, but something that you're excited about. Something you are excited about. Listen, I get that running is the it girl. She's been the it girl since post-pandemic. And a lot of us are seeing other people run. Now there's more people who look like me and different body sizes and different paces and different life experiences that may spark this interest for you to get into running, which we love it. And you know I have a resource for you. I'm a runner coach. Runna also just released their new Begin to Running programs, from walk to 5K, to just beginning paces, getting people familiar with what running and the structure looks like. Check it out. And 2 weeks free code. I got y'all. But running is become super popular, but you don't have to run a marathon. Like you really, if you don't want to run a marathon, if you don't want to train for a marathon, I think that's the first and foremost we need to respect. If you don't want to train for a marathon, you don't have to. You can do social runs. You can do the local 5K. You can just hang out in 10K land. You can go after half marathons. You can run one and never run it again. Or if you want to go for the marathon, but please just do it with a proper training plan and proper nutrition and proper recovery and proper strength training. So I think that when we're setting these goals, make sure they're relative to you and some of the things that you actually really want to do, because the internet's going to inspire us in all the ways, especially when we're getting fed content non-freaking stop. But it's really important that we make sure that the goal is important to us. Otherwise, it's not going to stick. That's just the way it goes. So speaking of like tips, tools, takeaways, ins and outs, I've never done this before. The ins and outs of 2026. I'm going to get to what I'm looking forward to in a second, but I did want to share this like ins and outs list. I think they're really fun and I've never done it, but this year I have some thoughts. So these are my 2026 ins, and there's 14 in and 14 out. Number one, in strength training with credible, experienced, accredited professionals. There are a lot of people online that are giving advice and guidance from their own personal experience, which is fine, but that's not Bible. And a lot of people who've just sat through a single weekend class trying to tell you how to live your life and how to make health decisions, strength decisions, programming lacking. No. We're doing people who have extensive experience, time spent, success, and can speak to wherever you are in your life. Because respectfully, I know the girls want the shelf, and I also know the girls want to be lean, but my body at 36 is not the same as it was in 26, and what worked at 26 will not work at 36, and that's okay. But make sure whoever you're getting information, guidance, direction from, they're meeting you where you're at. Number two, solo dates. I used to do a Sunday solo date every week couple of years ago, and I just love the thought of getting dressed up for myself. So we're going to go back to solo dates, and it doesn't have to be a dinner. It could be going to a coffee shop. It could be going to a cute lunch. It could be going to a dinner. It could be going to a park, wherever. Three, daily journaling. I am working on building a journaling habit. So I'm going to set a 3-minute alarm and just journal for 3 minutes. 5 minutes to me, for some reason, sounds very long. I can commit to 3 minutes, or I'm gonna do like 1 page a day, which feels a little better, but I'm not gonna write huge, because that would be cheating in my mind. 1 page a day. Okay, 4, a post-work wind down. As someone who works for themselves especially, I can be in my apartment all day. I can wake up and go work out and come home and be at my desk. and then take some calls and go right into dinner time. I'm going to break up the end of my workday and the evening wind down by doing like a post work wind down of some sorts. I would love for it just to be a walk. I can go straight downstairs in my building and just walk out for a little bit and then come back. 5, in sprinting. I think the stat is something of like 80, 60 seems low. I want to say like 90% of adults over the age 30 don't sprint ever. And when you think about a skill that is useful in life, not only physiologically, but just real life application, it is far more beneficial to be able to sprint than to be able to run a marathon. Unless when you're getting chased by a murderer, this is like an aerobic capacity thing and he's like willing to give you a 5-mile head start. But like thinking about, this is how I think of it. When your pet, niece, nephew, child, parent, something rolls away from you, you need to grab it. Like that is a fast action, sprinting, okay? 6, phone-free mornings. We're all working on that. 7, taking supplements informed by my blood work. I get my blood work done annually at this place in Chicago called Green Circle Wellness. I also have like a little code for that as well. Guys, I'm here to give you guys all the deals because we're not paying full price for health when we deserve it. All this should be free. But anyway, I got a code for you too if you're in Chicago. Green Circle Wellness, they're wonderful. I get my blood drawn there every single year. And then based off of my results or my labs, that informs what supplements I'm going to take versus just getting information off the internet and kind of trying to map it to these vague symptoms that I have when really an underlying cause could be something completely different. Number 8, protein and fiber as a combo. I know protein was like really, really trendy, but then everyone was backed up because we need fiber in our diet as well. But you're not only going to be a high fiber because then you're going to clean everything out. So protein and fiber as a combo. 9, monthly potluck gathering with my girls, just the girls coming over and catching up more regularly. 10, 9 p.m. bedtime. I'm working on the wind down. 11, for trade with friends. I really like this one. I think there's so many more services that we can offer each other, and not that it necessarily only has to be a barter or should be a barter, but like help me help you. 12, being fiscally responsible or more fiscally responsible. 13, investing in YouTube and Substack. I'm just a long format girly. I am. I like the 20 plus minute chats and to sit and write instead of trying to truncate everything in 30 seconds. And number 14, defining success by your own terms, because especially as a millennial, we've been led to believe there are these certain milestones we have to hit in order to be an adult or in order to be successful. And as the world unravels and things unfold and the truth that no one knows what they're doing and there's no rules to any of this becomes even more true, what success looks like for you will be different than what success looks like for me. And I think it's important that we each know what that means for ourselves, so the measure doesn't crumble us thinking that we should be trying to achieve these things that don't align with us. My outs, I'm just gonna run through them. Out, dinner after 9 p.m., style trends, be original. Running multiple races for the hype, doom scrolling, not doing your own research, blurred boundaries, copycat content, comparative suffering, working out fasted. We gotta eat, girlies especially. We gotta eat before we work out, run, lift, I don't care what it is. All fitness aesthetics, just get the shit done. Just go. Go before you buy the water bottle. Mean girl commentary. I do not like a mean girl. I'm not into it. Mindless spending, not doing better when you know better. And questioning your deservedness, because you deserve all the good things that are coming your way and that are happening for you. Period. No discussion. So those are my ins and outs. Now, as far as what I'm looking forward to in 2026 specifically, I don't know. I'm gonna be for real. The past several years have had so many, or at least one or two, definitive markers or milestones in them that it was really easy for me to set the goal and work towards it. They've all been run and race related. But what I'm looking forward to, and I'll start, I suppose, with running since I just spoke on it, is building up speed again and power. I think everything that's been going on with my knee has definitely taken away some confidence I have in my knee's ability to perform. But I had a few recent runs that felt really strong. I ran a sub 2-hour half marathon during every women's marathon weekend. I just hopped in for 13.1 miles. And I think I'm ready at least to build up to a fast 10K. Racing a fast half, probably not, but I will be pacing my younger sister Brianna for her first sub 2 half in June during Chicago 13.1, which is sold out, amazing, on the west side. And I say 10K and not half because I really think my knee only has one good go right now, and half marathon will be too long. And if I really want to work speed and power into a distance race, I'd go after marathon. So yeah, so I want to run a fast 10K. Race-wise on the list, I have Chicago 13.1, looking at LA half marathon, the charity half marathon, and then a fall marathon if Cape Town doesn't happen. I've been wanting to run the Cape Town marathon for the past 3 years, but it's in the fall traditionally. It's in October, which conflicts with Chicago Marathon, Toronto half and full marathon, and New York City Marathon. But they've moved it to May to fall in line with the Abbott Majors marathons. So I have on my dream bucket list to run the Cape Town Marathon in May. I would love to race it. It would be so fun to go back as well. And then in the fall, I'm pacing a friend to run New York City. So yeah, so just this year, it's like a mix of speed, but also a mix of just building confidence, again, for running. What I'm also looking forward to this year is trying on seasonal routines. So I'm a pretty routine person already, at least from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. But I sometimes try to force those routines when the season doesn't allow it. Quite literally the season, not only the season of life, but like it's winter time. So instead of trying to force myself to wake up at 5 a.m. when it's pitch black and cold here in Chicago, because like it's 11 degrees today, we can move things back. I can get up at 6 to work out at 7. I can get up at 7 to work out at 8. As long in my mind as I'm starting my work by 9:30, we can be a little bit more flexible. How that then would change once I get into the spring, a little bit more refreshed. It's also, if we're being honest, when the new year really starts, because it's like new energy, revival, new life, but to each his own. Spring, refresh, kind of like dial things back in the morning, or like start earlier in the morning. And then summer, I'm a rise with the sun kind of girl. So just leaning more into seasonal routines. If you look up seasonal routines on the internet, I'm sure there's like lots of really helpful information on what that looks like for you. But to be honest, we are in winter. We are in a season of rest and rejuvenation and softness and introspection and staying inside. So trying to like spur all these new things up this time of year, you might be met with some friction, and that's okay. It's also really real. So show yourself some grace. And if you have a larger goal, really think about breaking it down to just smaller bits and then chomping away at it. And then when the season shifts, you could ramp it up a little bit more. And so, yeah, let's just ride it and see how it goes. My other thing I'm looking forward to, so we have like a proper training cycle, try on seasonal routines. And the last one I've spoken to already is just really investing in long format content, whether that's through my Substack, A Healthy Hustle, figuring out what's going to live there. I enjoy writing pieces about behavior change, sharing little anecdotes about my life. I have really been entertaining the thought of a personal column. So taking meaningless otherwise moments from my life or my day or little interactions and diving deeper into the storytelling aspect of them. I just think that's really fun and a cool way to romanticize the everyday, if you will. So my Substack, and then YouTube. I just have been met with the most wonderful community here. I met someone at Every Women's Marathon who said that she was like, where have you been? I love your YouTube. And for me, I'm like, I only have like 3 videos. But the fact that y'all are here and support me and appreciate the time that I put into it when I do means a lot. I just think this space is really lovely, and everyone who's either commented or shared or approached me has been really kind. So thank you so much. I also want this space to capture my word of the year, which is legacy. Big word, and all it means. I think typically when we hear the word legacy, it's in reflection to what someone has left behind, or the body of work that represents who they are and their impact, or something they're looking to build in a colossal way. For me, I want my lifestyle to be a legacy that empowers, inspires, influences others to take care of themselves. Seeing how both my parents have passed away, I am the continuation of their legacy. And so, yeah, it's just a word that has really been like right here for the last like month. Like, what is my mark on this world going to be? And it doesn't need to be like going viral or creating a product or starting a business. It can just be the way that I make people feel or encourage other people to move throughout the world. I just want to keep that energy going and living into that. So this space would capture that. And then I just would love to know what y'all want to see. What do y'all like to watch on YouTube? What are you curious about? In the coming months, I will be doing some traveling, surprise, surprise, and I'll be building up to the half marathon in LA. I could take y'all along that journey. It's uneventful, but maybe we need more of the mundane, because that's the life we actually live. The sparkly stuff is fun to see, but that's not everyday life. So I don't know, buckle up. We're going to have fun. My birthday's in a week. Between now and then, maybe we'll do like a little vloggy for y'all to spend the week with me up to my birthday and see how it goes. But I appreciate you being here. We're going to do our best to show up consistently, being honest. We're going to do our best because that's all we can do. And until then, if you want to catch up with me, I'm on Instagram at @KaylaJude_. I'm kind of on TikTok, to be honest. It's a space I don't understand, but I respect. And I look forward to seeing you in all the places. See you next time. Bye.